Hello, John Mason. How is everybody? This past Shabbat, we studied the Torah portion, Shelach-Lecha, which comprises Numbers 13 through 15. This is when Moses, at the direction of God, sends men of repute, respected leaders in the tribes, to scout out the land of Canaan and give a report about the land and its people. And they said, as they say here, men of respected, a chieftain among them, men of respect in their communities. And Moses tells these spies, go up there into the Negev and into the hill country and see what kind of country it is. Are the people who dwell in it strong or weak, few or many? Is the country in which they dwell good or bad? Are the towns they live in open or fortified? I'm using the Jewish Translation Society edition of the Torah. Are the towns they live in open or fortified? Is the soil rich or poor? Is it wooded or not? I take great pains to bring back some of the fruit of the land. And the spies go into the land and they reconnoiter the territory and for 40 days, and they come back with this huge a cluster of grapes that had to carry it. Two men with a wooden beam had to carry it in. And they brought it back to Moses and say, we came to this land, and it's flowing with milk and honey. And here's this fruit, showing the grapes, and the figs and other produce of the land. However, the people who inhabit the country are powerful, and the cities are fortified and very large. And they talked about the various tribes or nations that are in the land. And Caleb, one of the spies, gives this more positive report, saying, let's go up and we're going to take it. We can gain possession of it. But other men, Caleb and Joshua were the minority report. They said, we can do it, we can take the land. But the 10 said, we can't attack those people. They're stronger than we are. And they spread panic among the Israelites. And they kept saying, the country we went through and scouted is one that just devours its settlers, eats them up. And these are huge people. And here's the worst part. And we looked like grasshoppers to ourselves, and so we must have looked to them. We saw ourselves as creepy, crawly little insects to be stepped on. Therefore, we project our negative self-image onto the people in the land. Okay? And the whole community, the whole Israelite community, panicked. And they said, oh, we should have died in Egypt. Let's go back to Egypt. We're going to die in the wilderness. And God is furious at them. God's furious at them. And God tells them that the generation that they can't go into the land for 40 days. And the generation that experienced slavery in Egypt has to all die out because their lack of faith in themselves and in God, they couldn't enter the land. But only two of the spies, Joshua and Caleb, the guys who gave the positive report, the guys who said, we can do it, we can take it, they were able to get into the land, but not anyone else. That was the punishment they inflicted on themselves. Not being able to go into the land that God promised them. Not being able to be free of the slave mentality. Not to be able to attain the highest fulfillment as individuals and as a community. Like, do we really know who we are? Do we really know what we're capable of? We have to ask ourselves, what are we capable and not capable of doing? What are our limitations? our limitations are our limitations. What are we capable of? Again. Now we come to the Haftorah portion, the second chapter of Joshua, where this time Joshua leads the tribes into the land, and he orders spies to go into the city of Jericho to do a reconnaissance mission in Jericho. And they go in, and they come upon the home of the sex worker Rahab, the harlot, and and Rahab hides the spies on the roof, and the soldiers of the king come to her house and ask her, "Have you seen the spies?" And she said, "They're not here, but go over there. They can make a getaway. Go over there." So she leads the spies on a wild goose chase. No, the soldiers on a wild goose chase and protects the spies. And Rahab, the sex worker, the harlot, the woman on the fringes of the community, says, "I know we all heard about you guys, you Israelites. You guys are powerful. You guys are frightening us. We know God is with you. We know what God did to the nations that stood in your way. Everybody's terrified of you guys." So see, before they saw themselves as creepy, crawly little insects to be stomped on, but in reality, they were terrified of them. So question your negative self-image. Question those negative things that have been taught to you about you. Please, for yourselves and for your community. That's particularly serious with the current spate of terrible decisions from the Supreme Court of the United States, which has reversed Roe v. Wade, has invalidated it. And trust me, other Supreme Court decisions protecting reproductive rights and gay rights are on the chopping block. They're next. And the reactionaries and Republicans, they were stupid. They overplayed their hand. I was one of the crowds in Philadelphia. The crowds were there at City Hall and Independence Hall, flooding the streets, standing up for the right of a woman to control her own body. Yes, I believe foursquare in the right of a woman to control her own biology, including her own reproductive system. Here's a kicker. Theologians and scientists have been debating for millennia about when life begins. Somewhere is in the uterus, somewhere is at birth. When? We've been going by this one particular Christian interpretation of when life begins. And is there any real one particular so-called Christian interpretation? Traditionally, Jewish teaching teaches that life begins when the baby's head starts peeping out of the womb. See, it was a choice between the life of the mother or the life of the fetus. The life of the mother comes first. So that's it. We can't have just one particular religious interpretation about when life begins. If there's so many religions asserting themselves, how can you justify a religious decision in the law about when life begins? A woman must be allowed to decide if and when to terminate a pregnancy in her body. Period. Full stop. Okay, now advertisements. Hamperific LLC is a lovely little CBD product store located on Snyder Avenue near 15th Street in South Philadelphia. There you will find some of the finest cannabis products you can imagine, such as flour and candies and lip balm and teas and hand sanitizer and dog treats. Look them up, please. HamperificLLC.com. And Michelle Snow is my beloved career and business coach. She will guide you as you develop your professional career and business. Let you know what you're doing right, where you need work, and help you network with other up-and-coming professionals. Look her up, please. GrowWithSnow.com. Okay? Okay. Just remember, the elections are coming up in November. They haven't taken place yet, so knock it off with a doom and gloom. Sure, rest up, catch your breath. Burnout and tiredness is a problem on activists. It's a real thing. I know that. But don't let it get you down. Let's get back up the mat. Let's get on our feet. Start fighting. Start organizing. Start educating yourselves and each other, and start voting. Register to vote and vote. That's how we'll win. That's how we'll defend reproductive rights and gay rights and religious minority rights. I should know. Okay then. Later on. Keep cool. Bye.